So we are dealing with the problem solving segment of simple harmonic motion. Let us begin with the first problem. Consider a particle moving in simple harmonic motion according to the equation x equals 2 cos of 50 pi t plus tan inverse of 0.75, where x is in centimeter and t is in second. The motion is started at t equal to 0. When does the particle come to rest for the first time? When does the acceleration have its maximum magnitude for the first time? When does the particle come to rest for the second time? So if we approach this particular problem, so we are given the position of the particle as a function of time by means of x is equal to 2 cos of omega t. So place of omega we have 50 pi t plus tan inverse of 0.75, which is depicting the phase, the initial phase of the particle. So if I differentiate the expression to obtain the speed equation or the velocity equation, that is dx by dt. So over here I can say that the omega will come out and the derivative of cos is minus sign. So the equation will take the form 100 pi sine of 50 pi t plus tan inverse of 0.75. So now the problem is asking the particle comes to rest for the first time. So for rest we say that v is equated to 0. So now for the equation to acquire this speed 0, so this particular value can take the following form. So I can say that 50 pi t plus tan inverse of 0.75, this can be 0, pi, 2 pi, and then I can say n pi. So these are the possible values which it can attain. So the problem is asking for the first time. So now 0 cannot be the possibility because we have a positive value of this particular initial phase. So over here we equate this to pi. So if I equate this with pi, because if I take 0 I will get a negative value of time, which is not possible. So if I equate with pi, then I need to write tan inverse 0.75 in terms of pi. So we write this as pi by 5. So over here this equation will take the form 50 pi t plus pi by 5, which is equal to pi. So it will take a form like this, and from here we can calculate the value of t. So that is, it is turning out to be 50 pi t is equal to pi minus pi by 5, that is 4 pi by 5, and hence the value of time over here is turning out to be 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 2 seconds. So this is the time when the particle comes to rest for the first time. So if I talk about this particular aspect when the particle is coming to rest, so I mean to say that the particle has attained its extreme position. Its extreme position. So for the first answer we have calculated the time when the particle is reaching its extreme position, which is equal to 1.6 10 to the power minus 2 second. The problem is asking when does the acceleration have its maximum magnitude. For this particular aspect, again the particle need to be at extreme position. So our time value, which is 1.6 10 to the power minus 2 second, is going to remain the same for the second option. The maximum acceleration is the point when the particle is at the maximum amplitude. So the answer will remain unchanged. Now the next part which is asked is when does the particle come to rest for the second time. So over here you need to understand this particular aspect. So if I consider that this is the mean position of the particle, this is plus a, and this is minus a. So the particle executing SHM will move in a way like this. So this is one complete time period which we regard as total time period capital T, which in our case can be calculated in this way. So omega is equal to, over here in this particular segment we have seen that omega is equal to 50 pi. So we can say that omega, which is equal to 50 pi, so we can equate it with 2 pi by capital T, which is equal to 50 pi, and then we get capital T as 1 by 25 second. 1 by 25 second, which is equal to 0.04 seconds. So this is the complete time period. So if I take the time in which the particle is going to reach from one extreme to the another extreme, then it is going to be half of the time period, that is 0.02 seconds. So the time taken to reach one extreme is already calculated. So over here for the third part, I can say the particle will come to rest again at, the particle will again come to rest. So this particular time is 1.6 10 to the power minus 2 second plus 0.04. So we get the value 3.2 into 10 to the power minus 2 second. So this is the answer for the third part. Let us move to the next question. The next problem is asking a block suspended from a vertical spring is in equilibrium. Show that the extension of the spring equals the length of an equivalent simple pendulum, that is a pendulum having frequency same as that of the block. So over here, if I explain the problem over here in the correct sense, the way it is trying to ask. So over here we say that if this is a simple pendulum having a length L, so we specify that the time period is written as 2 pi root over L by G. And if I take a spring mass system, a spring having a spring constant K and mass M, so over here we say that the time period is 2 pi root over M by K. So over here the problem is specifying a block suspended from a vertical spring is in equilibrium. So if it is in equilibrium, then I can say that the weight is balanced by the spring force. So the weight mg is balanced by spring force kx, where we write k is equal to mg by x. K is equal to mg by x. So if we use this particular expression over here, then over here the problem is asking show that the extension of the spring equals the length of an equivalent simple pendulum. So the extension, that is x, which will be equal to mg by k, can be used as an equivalent length of a simple pendulum. That is, if I substitute this value of a k over here, then we will get the same expression for the simple pendulum formulation. So that is, if I write t is equal to 2 pi root over m by k, so k can be written as mg by x. So m and m will cancel out and we get t is equal to 2 pi root over x by g, which is of the form t is equal to 2 pi root over L by G. So I write over here, hence proved. Let us move to the next problem. So the next problem is asking a body of mass 2 kg suspended through a vertical spring executes SHM of period 4 seconds. If the oscillations are stopped and the body hangs in equilibrium, find the potential energy stored in the spring. So if we start approaching this particular problem, so the problem is stating that a body of mass 2 kg suspended through a vertical spring is executing SHM of time period of 4 seconds. So over here we can calculate omega as 2 pi by capital T, which is equal to 2 pi by 4, which is equal to pi by 2 radian per second. So over here, if I equate this the time period formulation with 2 pi root over m by k, so from here we can also calculate the value of k. So k time period can be written as 4, which is equal to 2 pi root over 2 by k. So we can cancel this out and then we attain the value of k is turning out to be pi square by 2. So we attain the following value, k is turning out to be pi square by 2 Newton per meter. So over here I can say that the problem is asking us to calculate the potential energy when the oscillations are stopped and the body is hanging in equilibrium. That is, I can say that the weight is balanced by kx. that the weight is balanced by kx. So over here if I write weight, then I write it as mg, which is equal to pi square by 2 into x. So from here we obtain x is turning out to be 40 by pi square. And hence I can write that the potential energy stored is equal to half kx square. Half k is turning out to be pi square by 2 and x square is turning out to be 40 by pi square squared. So over here we get 400 by pi square, which is turning out to be 40.5 joule. So this is the answer for this particular question, 40.5 joule. Let us deal with the next problem. The next problem is stating a spring stores 5 joule of energy when stretched by 25 centimeter. It is kept vertical with the lower end fixed. A block fastened to its other end is made to undergo small oscillations. If the block makes 5 oscillations each second, what is the mass of the block? So over here the first point with the problem is stating that the spring stores 5 joule of energy when stretched by 25 centimeter. It is kept vertical with lower end fixed. A block fastened to its other end is made to undergo small oscillations and the block is making 5 oscillations each second. So if there are 5 oscillations per second, so the time period for one oscillation will be 1 by 50 second, which is the time period that we know of. 5 by 50, it is turning out to be 1 by 10 seconds. It is turning out to be 1 by 10 seconds. A spring stores 5 joule of energy when stretched by 25 centimeter. It is kept vertical with the lower end fixed. A block fastened to its other end is made to undergo small oscillations. If the block makes 5 oscillations each second, what is the mass of the block? So if I start writing the information which the problem is sharing, so the spring is storing a energy of 5 joule and it is stretched by 25 centimeter. So x is equal to 25 centimeter. It is kept vertical with the lower end fixed. Now the block is fastened, its other end is made to undergo small oscillations. So and the problem is stating that 5 oscillations is performed in 1 second. So 5 oscillations are performed per second. So the time period which is the time taken for one oscillation, so it will be written as 1 by 5 second. 1 by 5 second, and the time period formulation can be equated to 2 pi root over m by k. Time period equation can be equated to 2 pi root over m by k. So the next thing which we need is the value of k. So in order to determine the value of k, so what we are looking for is this particular information which is given to us. So over here I am doing the following calculation, that u is equal to half kx square. So 5 is equal to half, k is not known, 25 by 100 squared, that is 1 by 4 squared. So from here we attain the value k is turning out to be 160 Newton per meter. It is turning out to be 160 Newton per meter. Now the problem is asking what is the mass of the block. So all we need to do is to substitute the values over here in this particular equation. So the time period is given to us as 1 by 5 second. The block is performing, which is equal to 2 pi root over m by 160. So now from here we need to calculate the value of mass. So from here the value of m is turning out to be 0.162 kg. This is the answer for this particular problem. Let us deal with the next one. The block of mass m1 shown in the figure given below is fastened to the spring and the block of mass m2 is placed against it. Find the compression of the spring in the equilibrium position. The next one is the blocks are pushed a further distance 2 by k m1 plus m2 g sine theta against the spring and released. Find the position where the two blocks will separate. And the last part is asking what is the common speed of the blocks at the time of separation. So over here, what do we mean to say is the following thing. The first problem that is asked is find the compression of the spring. So in the equilibrium position, if I am solving the A part, so over here I can draw the diagram in this way. I can collectively say that this mass is behaving like a one system, that is m1 plus m2, and due to this mass system, if we break the component of force, then it is m1 plus m2g acting in the downward direction, m1 plus m2g cos theta in this direction, and in the downward direction we have m1 plus m2g sin theta. So this is the force which is responsible for compression produced in the spring. So over here I can say that the force which is producing the compression is the downward force down the incline, that is m1 plus m2 g sin theta. So over here if I write it as kx, which is equal to m1 plus m2 g sin theta. So from here we can calculate the compression produced is turning out to be m1 plus m2 by k g sin theta. So this is the first problem which is being asked. Find the compression of the spring in equilibrium position. Now the next thing which the problem is asking is the blocks are pushed a further distance of 2 by k m1 plus m2 g sin theta against the spring and released. Find the position where the two blocks will separate. So over here if another compression is added, so now the total what we can say, the total elongation which is, or the compression that is generated, so this was already there and this is added, so it becomes 3 by k m1 plus m2 g sin theta. So this is the total extension which is generated in the spring. This is the answer to the first part that we have, A. Now the total compression which is generated is 3 by k m1 plus m2 g sin theta. So if the spring will come back by this distance, that is at natural length, then the two blocks will separate. So the two blocks will separate when the two of them will again come back to its original position or the natural length. So at the natural length they will separate. So for B part the answer is the natural length. Now the third part is what is the common speed of the blocks at the time of separation. So at the time of separation, what is going to be the common speed over here? So what we are treating is now if I draw this system like this, so at the lowest point, so if I consider this inclined plane like this, inclined at an angle theta, the system is in this particular state. So we have m1 and m2 placed like this having spring constant k, and from here the system will return back to its natural length, that is xt. So over here what I can say that if I consider the total force, so the gravitational force m1 plus m2g is acting in the downward direction, and in the opposite direction the force m1 plus m2g sin theta is acting in this direction. So as the block will be moving towards the natural length mark, so this work will be done against the gravity, and the spring is pushing the system in the upward direction. So over here I can say that the speed which it attains, that is the kinetic energy, so half m1 plus m2 v square at the natural length mark is because of half kx square, and some amount is spent in overcoming gravity, which is m1 plus m2 g sine theta multiplied by total extension xt, that is the distance which it traveled along the incline. So xt in both these aspects is going to be same, that is 3 by k m1 plus m2 g sine theta. So if I put the values over here, so on substituting the value we get the equation like this: m1 plus m2 v square is equal to half k. Now xt can be written as 3 by k m1 plus m2 g sine theta squared minus m1 plus m2 g sine theta into 3 by k m1 plus m2 g sine theta. So this is the expression which we have, and from here on calculation we get v is turning out to be g sine theta root over 3 times of m1 plus m2 by k. So this is the answer that we have for the third part of this problem. Let us deal with problem number 6 in this segment. In the figure given below, k equals 100 Newton per meter, m equals 1 kg, and f equals 10 Newton. The first problem that is asked is find the compression of the spring in the equilibrium position. The second one is a sharp blow by some external agent imparts a speed of 2 meter per second to the block towards the left. Find the sum of the potential energy of the spring and the kinetic energy of the block at this instant. The next one is find the time period of the resulting SHM. Then it is asked find the amplitude of SHM. The next one is write the potential energy of the spring when the block is at the left extreme. And the last part is asking write the potential energy of the spring when the block is at the right extreme. And there is a small question that is asked. The answers of B, E and F are different. Explain why this does not violate the principle of conservation of energy. So if we solve it in a systematic way using all our concepts, then it will not be needed to explain you that part. So let us begin in this way. The first one that is asked is the compression of the spring in the equilibrium position. So we are using the working formula F equals kx. So if we use this formulation, then I say that the applied force over here is 10 Newton, which is equal to 100, which is spring constant, into x. So from here we obtain x is coming out to be 0.1 meter. So this is the answer to the first part that we have. Now in the second part, that is B part, the problem is asking a sharp blow by some external agent imparts a speed of 2 meter per second to the block towards the left. Find the sum of the potential energy of the spring and kinetic energy of the block at this instant. So over here at this instant, the spring is already having the compression which is generated because of this applied force, which is equal to 0.1 meter. And over here 2 meter per second impulse velocity is imparted to the block, due to which it will start executing SHM. So over here I can say that the total energy will be due to kinetic energy and due to spring potential energy. So it will be due to these two aspects. So over here if I write about kinetic energy, then it is going to be half mass of the block is 1 into 2 squared plus potential energy stored in the spring, which is half k x square, that is 1 by 10 squared. So over here we are turning out that 4 by 2, that is 2, plus 100 will cancel out, we get 0.5. So the value is turning out to be 2.5 joule. So 2.5 joule is the total value of total energy that is stored in the block at this current instant. Now the next one that is asked is, so we have solved A and B part. Find the time period of the resulting SHM. So if I write the formulation for the time period of the resulting SHM, so time period is given by 2 pi root over m by k. 2 pi root over m by k. So over here if I substitute the values, that is 2 pi, mass of the block is equal to 1 kg by 100. So 100 will come out of square root, that is 10. So we get pi by 5 second. So pi by 5 second is the answer for the third part. So we have solved the three portions of this particular question. The next is asking find the amplitude. So over here we need to find the amplitude over here. So if we calculate the amplitude, so amplitude can be calculated in this way, that is D part. So now the energy is stored in the form of spring potential energy half k x naught square, which is the amplitude. This is the amplitude which we are looking for, x naught, and the total energy which the system is acquiring is in the form of a kinetic energy which is equal to 2 joules, so this kinetic energy will get converted into the spring potential energy. So over here if I solve for x naught, so we are getting x naught is turning out to be 4 by 100 square root, that is it is turning out to be 2 by 10 into 100, that is 20 centimeter. So we can write this as 20 centimeter. So the amplitude of resulting SHM is going to be 20 centimeter. Now in the E part, if I look at the next question, then the problem over here is asking find the potential energy of the spring when the block is at the left extreme, and in the next part it is asking potential energy when the block is at the right extreme. So over here now this is very important to understand that when the block is moving towards the left, when it is moving towards the left, so there is energy which is imparted due to impulse. So there will be a impulse energy which will be converting into spring energy. The applied force is producing a displacement which is equal to 20 centimeter, which is equal to the amplitude which we have calculated over here, and then there is some initial spring potential energy which is already stored in the system, which is 0.5 joule, this part which we have already calculated. So all of them will combine together to store in the form of potential energy of the spring when the block is at the left extreme. So if I do this in this aspect, so I say when the block is at the left extreme, when the block is at the left extreme, so then what will happen, we will say that the energy is stored in the form of impulse, that is half m v square plus the work done which is done by the applied force, so force into displacement which is 20 by 100, and then followed by that we have the spring energy which is the initial spring energy which we have, that is half k x square. So all these energies will combine together to be stored in the form of spring potential energy. So over here it is turning out to be 2 plus 2 plus 0.5, that is it is turning out to be 4.5 joule. So this is the energy which is stored in the form of spring potential energy when the spring goes at the left extreme. Now at the right extreme what is going to happen? At the right extreme what is going to happen? Everything is going to remain the same. This is going to be the energy which was there due to the impulse. Now this time when the block is moving towards the right and the applied force is directed towards the left, the work done by applied force in the displacement of 20 centimeter on the other side will be negative, and then we have the initial energy which is stored in the spring, that is half k x square. So over here we write it as 2 minus 2 plus 0.5, it is turning out to be 0.5 joule. It is turning out to be 0.5 joule. So these are the answers for this particular problem, and over here we have clearly stated for every portion of the energy which we have calculated why we have considered a one particular form of energy. So let us move to the next problem. So the next problem is stating a particle of mass m is attached to the three springs A, B and C of equal force constants K as shown in the given figure below. If the particle is pushed slightly against the spring C and released, we have to find the time period of oscillation. So this is the initial diagram which we are having, and the particle is displaced towards the C spring, that is the third spring which we have over here in this direction. So over here, what I mean to say over here, the first thing is we need to find out what is going to be the elongation in the other two springs. So if I consider it this way, So I can say that if the block which was at this position initially is displaced by a distance x in this direction, so over here I can say that the elongation produced in B is in this direction and the elongation produced in A is in this direction. So these are the two aspects which we need to understand. So I'm completing this particular box. So this is the elongation produced in A XA and this is elongation produced in B XB, and this angle is 45 degree, which is mentioned over here in this particular problem. So when the spring is displaced by X in this direction, then it is going to produce the elongation in B in this direction and elongation in A in this direction. So what we have done is we have drawn this particular square, or whatever you can say, rectangle over here. So it will be a square because this angle is 45 degrees. So over here I can say that XA and XB is going to be same, and it is going to be x by root 2. It is going to be x by root 2. So if I draw all the forces which is going to act on this particular block, if I draw all the forces which is going to act on this particular block, so if this is the block that we have having a mass m, so over here the force which is going to act is going to be written as kx by root 2. By block B it will act over here kx by root 2, and due to C it will act over here, which is directly kx. So each block is trying to restore the original position of the system. So over here if I say the resultant due to B and A, so they both will join the force which is exerted by C. So over here therefore I write the F net restoring. F net restoring is going to become kx plus kx by root 2 into cos 45 degree, and we will be doing it twice, one because of the force due to A and the other due to force due to B. So over here we are left with 2kx. So this is going to become the net restoring force, which can be equated to ma. So over here we get the form of SHM A is equal to, since it is restoring I am putting a negative sign over here, so we get the form minus 2k by m is square root square x. So from here we can say that the time period of this particular SHM is going to be 2 pi by omega. So 2 pi root over m by 2k. So this is the answer for this particular problem that we have, that t equals to 2 pi root over m by 2k. Root over m by 2k. So this is the way by which we are solving this particular problem. So the block which is displaced, so we are redrawing the system in this particular way. This is the important part which you need to understand. And then we are calculating the restoring force which is going to be offered by individual springs to calculate the net restoring force. Let us move to the next problem. The problem is asking repeat the previous question if the angle between each pair of spring is 120 degree. So we need to repeat this same set of problem considering that the angle is 120 degree. So over here let me reconstruct this particular system. So in order to reconstruct this particular system I'm drawing it like this. So we are considering a very aspect like this. So let me consider that this is the support line which we have. This is the first spring which we attach. The second spring or the third spring, this one is spring C. And over here there is a mass M. Another one attached over here from a support like this. Now this one is spring C, and over here as we have named it, this is A and B. So this one is A, this one is B, and this one is C. So over here what we will be doing is we are displacing this particular block by a distance x in this direction, that is towards C, and as a result of which this spring system will take the form like this. So spring A and B will undergo elongation in this particular direction. So over here, I need to first of all find out what is the elongation which is produced in B and A respectively, because the compression in C is directly X. So over here, what we are intending to do is, if we consider this particular diagram, so if I redraw this diagram over here like this, so if I draw a perpendicular from here, so we are using a little approximation. If we are drawing a perpendicular over here, then this is the elongation which is produced in B, and if I draw a perpendicular from here, then this is the elongation which we say in A. So we are considering a small displacement. Under the light of small displacement, we can say that this is the elongation in A and this is in B, and by symmetry I can say XA and XB is same. XA and XB is same. So if I redraw this particular diagram, so this angle was 120 degree. So this angle was 120 degree. So I can say that the each of the angle becomes a 60 degree. So if I reconstruct this particular triangle over here, so if I reconstruct this triangle over here, this one is 30 degree and this one is 60 degree. The X is in this direction. So this is the triangle which I am trying to construct. This one is 90 degree which we have drawn, 30, and then over here this one is 60 degree that we have drawn. So this is the shape which it is going to acquire, and over here I can say that sine 30 is going to become p by x. So over here we get half is equal to p by x. So p is equal to x by 2. So the elongation produced in each of the spring, which is XA and XB, is going to be equal to x by 2. So XA and XB is going to be P, which is equal to x by 2. So over here what we can say that if we consider the FBD of this particular block, so if we consider FBD of this particular block, then a force Kx is supplied by spring C in this direction. By spring B, a force Kx by 2 is provided in this direction, and Kx by 2 is provided by spring A in this direction. So both of them are trying to restore their original position, and in order to do so they are producing the following forces. And since this angle is 120 degrees, so I say this is 60 and this is 60. So the resultant is going to be along this line, which is the force produced by C. So we are calculating resultant due to these two forces. So the net force, or I can directly calculate the F restoring due to all the forces, then it is going to be Kx because of spring C. Now Kx by 2 cos 60 degree, and we are making it twice. This one is due to each of these individual springs, that is A and B respectively. So Kx by 2 cos 60 into 2. So over here we are left with Kx plus half, that is Kx by 2. So we get 3Kx by 2. 3Kx by 2. So over here I can say that F restoring, which is equal to Ma, is equal to minus 3K by 2 into X. So A is turning out to be minus 3K by 2M square root square X. So this is omega square. So the time period of SHM is turning out to be 2 pi root over 2M by 3K. Root over 2M by 3K. So this is the answer for the time period of the SHM for this particular spring mass system. So let us begin with the next problem. The spring and the pulley shown in the figure given below are light. Find the time period of the mass m if the pulley has a moment of inertia I about its axis and the string does not slip over it. So over here, if I would to write the time period for the system without involving the moment of inertia, then it will be 2 pi root over m by k. Now since the moment of inertia of the pulley is also involved, so the first thing which I am going to say is at equilibrium, so over here I say that the weight mg is balanced by the elongation produced in the spring kx naught. So this we are writing as the first equation over here, which is going to be very vital for us. Now, if the system is displaced from the equilibrium position, that is, if I lower the mass a little distance x further from its equilibrium position, then if I write the total energy on doing this, so over here I can say that the spring potential energy will become half k x plus x naught square. Then there is a gravitational potential energy which we write as mg x minus x naught, followed by the kinetic energy which the block possesses, half mv square, and the rotational kinetic energy of the pulley, which is half I omega square. So these are the aspects of energy which we can write when the block is lowered by another distance x. Now during the course of SHM, total energy is conserved. So over here I can say that derivative of total energy with time d by dt can be equated to 0. So this is the concept which we are using for this particular problem. So we need to differentiate this equation and put it to equate to 0. So over here if I start differentiating each term, so we can write it in this way: half k twice of x plus x naught dx by dt minus mg dx by dt minus 0 plus half m 2v dv by dt plus half I 2 omega d omega by dt, which is equated to 0. So over here we can write it in this way: k x plus x naught into v minus mgv plus mv dv by dt can be written as a plus I. Now omega over here, so if I use the expression v equal to r omega, so omega can be written as v by r, and d omega by dt is alpha, so alpha can be written as a equal to r alpha, so alpha can be written as a by r, so it will become r square is equal to 0. So we get a expression like this. So from this particular expression I can chop out all the v's. V is common to all the term, so we can remove all the v from here. So I am removing all the v taken common from this particular equation, and we are left with this particular expression like this. So we are left with an expression like this over here. So over here, if mg equal to kx naught, then kx naught and minus mg will cancel out, and we are left with kx plus m plus I by r square into a is equal to 0. So we get an equation like this, and from here we can easily write that a is equal to minus k upon m plus I by r square into x. So if I put it in this form, that is minus of square root of square x, so we can say this is omega square x. So from here I can write that the time period is turning out to be 2 pi root over of m plus I by r square by k. So over here in this expression, if I put the value of I equal to 0, I will again get back to this expression, which is equal to t is equal to 2 pi root over m by k. So if we are considering the moment of inertia of the pulley, then we deduce the formula for time period in this way. That is, we write the total energy associated with the system at a certain instant of time, and then we differentiate it and equate it to 0. Let us move to the next problem. Consider the situation shown in the figure given below. Show that if the blocks are displaced slightly in the opposite directions and released, they will execute a simple harmonic motion. Calculate the time period. So over here, the first thing which we need to understand over here is that the center of mass of this system, if I consider the length of the spring as L, so the center of mass of the system is located over here. So the acceleration of center of mass is going to be 0. The velocity of center of mass is going to be 0. Why? Because there is no net external force involved. No net external force involved. And the system will execute SHM, that is the blocks will again try to come back to that same position, back forth again on being displaced. That is, over here I can say that mx1 is going to be equal to mx2 in the another direction. That is, I can say that x1 is also going to be equal to x2. So if I displace one block in the one direction, then the another block will displace in the another direction, so as to make sure that x1 is equal to x2, in order to make sure that the displacement of center of mass, the acceleration of center of mass, and the velocity of center of mass is equal to 0. And for this particular problem, I can say that the time period equation, which we know as 2 pi root over m by k. So from the concept of center of or C frame, which I have taught you in the class, we can put it as mu by k, where mu is reduced mass, which is equal to m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2. So over here we can write it as m square by 2m, that is m by 2. So hence the formula for time period will turn out to be 2 pi root over m by 2k. So this is the expression for this particular problem that we have. Let us move to the next question. A rectangular plate of sides A and B is suspended from a ceiling by two parallel strings of length L each. Figure given below, the separation between the strings is D. The plate is displaced slightly in its plane, keeping the strings tight. Show that it will execute SHM, and we need to find the time period of SHM. So over here the problem is stating that the plate is displaced slightly in its plane, keeping the strings tight. So over here, if I reconstruct this particular system again, so I am reconstructing the system over here in this way. So this is going to be the fixed support which we have, and over here what I am doing is I am displacing the block slightly in its plane. I am displacing the block slightly in its plane. So as a result of which it will take a form like this. And if I draw the block, then the block can be drawn in this way. So we can draw the block like this over here. So this is the diagram that we obtain for this particular problem on being displaced slightly. So over here, if I start putting up the values which we know, so over here I'm drawing it in this way, that we are considering that this particular angle be theta, and this theta is very small. Theta is very small, and the separation between these 2 points is small d. The length of the from the point of suspension is L, and the rectangular plate is having a side A and B respectively. So this one is A and this one is B. So over here, the first thing which we are going to write is for vertical equilibrium. So if I say that a tension T is developed in these strings, so over here I can say that this component which is going to become T cos theta, and this component which is going to become T cos theta. So for vertical equilibrium, summation of force in the y-axis direction to be 0, it is important that 2t cos theta is balancing the weight mg of the block, or t can be written as mg upon 2 cos theta. And over here the next component of force which we have, this is t sin theta. and this one which is t sine theta. So the combined effect of 2t sine theta is going to act as a restoring force. So over here I can write that F restoring, then we can write it as minus 2t sine theta, which will try to bring the rectangular plate system back to its original position. So F restoring can be written as Fr, which is equal to minus of twice of mg by 2 cos theta into sine theta. So over here we can write that F restoring is equal to minus mg and tan theta. So if theta is very small, then I can put it as theta. So sine theta is approximately equal to tan theta and approximately equal to theta for very small values of theta. So we can write it in this way, and over here I can say that F restoring is equal to minus mg, and this small angle theta can be written as this arc length x upon L, x upon L. So over here if I put F restoring is equal to MA, then MA can be written as minus mg by L into x. So we can chop this m out and we get A is equal to minus g by L square root square into x. A is equal to minus omega square x. So we can say time period is equal to 2 pi root over L by g. So for this particular problem, the time period of SHM is turning out to be 2 pi root over L by g when the rectangular plate is displaced slightly in its plane, keeping the strings tight. Let us move to the next problem. So the next problem is stating the left block in the figure given below moves at a speed v towards the right block placed in equilibrium. All collisions to take place are elastic and the surfaces are frictionless, so that the motion of the two blocks are periodic in nature. Find the time period of these periodic motions. Neglect the width of the block. So this one is based on the concept of what you say collision. So over here if the question is saying that the two blocks are identical, that is they have the same masses and the collision is perfectly elastic. So I can say on collision the momentum will be transferred to the other block. The momentum will be transferred to the other block, that is the block which is moving will come to rest and the other block will start moving. So over here this is the initial condition which is shown to us. So over here I can reconstruct it back again over here in this way. So I am reconstructing this system back again over here. We will be considering the two aspects. So over here we can consider it in this way, that when this block is going to collide over here, then this one will come to a halt and the block which is associated with the spring will acquire the velocity and will start moving with a certain velocity, so it will come to a halt. So if I name this as A and B respectively, so A comes to a halt and B starts moving with this velocity v in this other direction. So if I consider this as the mean position of B at which it is at rest, so this is the mean position of B. So at mean position B is imparted by an impulse because of the collision which happens with A, and the velocity is transferred to B, as a result of which it will execute SHM and will again transfer the momentum back to A when it will be moving in the other direction. So as a result of which again when the B is going to come at mean position, the velocity of B will become 0 and the velocity will be imparted to A. Velocity will be imparted to A and A will start moving in the other direction. So basically I can say that B is performing half of the SHM. It is performing one half of the SHM. So over here the two time periods are involved. The time which the block A is taking to move from the mean position mark to the left end, colliding over here and then returning back, and this separation is equal to L. So over here I can say that it will collide with the wall, which will give it the same velocity after collision. This one is time t1, and the another one is the half time period of SHM for the block B, which is time t2. So the total time for this motion can be considered as t1 plus t2. So T1 is going to be the time taken by the block A to complete this onward journey and this return journey. So we write it as 2L by V. We write it as 2L by V. And for the half of the SHM, the total time period is 2 pi root over m by k. For the half of SHM, it is equal to pi root over m by k. So this becomes the total time period for this particular SHM, that is t equals 2L by V plus pi root over m by k. So let us deal with the next problem. Find the time period of the motion of the particles shown in the figure given below. Neglect the small effect of the bend near the bottom. So over here what is going to happen is that due to the influence of gravity, the particle will move in the downward direction and then it will start climbing on the other inclined plane. So we need to calculate the time period when this particle is executing a motion like this. So if I consider it over here, so I'm solving one half of the motion. So if I solve one half of the motion like this, that is we have a height h, and the particle starts coming down from here. We are considering this angle as theta. So over here I can write the component over here for g is turning out to be g sine theta down the incline. And if I consider this distance as x, so over here I can write the following aspects about it, that the initial velocity of the particle when it is dropped down the incline is equal to 0. The displacement which it underwent is equal to x, which can be written as h by sine theta. From basic trigonometry, sine theta is equal to perpendicular by hypotenuse. So hypotenuse length can be written as h by sine theta. And the value of acceleration is turning out to be g sine theta. So from here I can calculate that the time taken for its downward journey, that is h upon sine theta, is equal to half g sine theta t squared, or I can call this as a t1. So t1 over here is turning out to be 2h upon g sine square theta square root. So this can be written as the first part of the equation. So now over here the particle will reach the lower end with a certain velocity, and we are neglecting the small effect of the bend, and the particle is going to climb on the other inclined plane like this with the same velocity, and it will reach the same height if we deal according to the conservation of energy statement. So it will acquire the same height h if we consider that the no loss of energy taking place and the effect of bend. So it will acquire the same height, and hence the time taken is also going to be same. So over here I can say that t2 is turning out to be, if I consider this angle as phi, so t2 will turn out to be 2h upon g sine square phi square root. So therefore if I write the total time period of motion, so total time period of motion is going to be twice of, so why twice? One is the onward journey and the another is the return journey. So twice of root over 2h by g, which can be taken common, and then we are left with 1 by sine theta plus 1 by sine phi. So this is the expression which we have, or we can write it as twice of root over 2h. So now h in the problem is 10 centimeters, so we write as 0.1 upon g, which is 9.8, 1 by sine of 45 degree, that is root 2, plus 1 by sine of 60 degree, that is 2 by root 3. And on solving over here, we are calculating the t is turning out to be 0.733 second. So this is going to be the answer for this particular problem. So we need to double the value of time that we calculate. One is for the onward journey and the another is for the return journey when one complete periodic motion will get over. Let us deal with the next problem. Problem number 14 in this segment. A pendulum clock giving correct time at a place where g equals 9.800 meter per second square is taken to another place where it loses 24 seconds during 24 hours. Find the value of g at this new place. So over here, I am beginning the problem like this, that I can write the original time period t naught, which is corresponding to the original value of g, that is L by g. Now the new value of time period is written as Tn. So this can be written as 2 pi root over L by Gn. This is the new value of the acceleration due to gravity at this place. And if I calculate the difference between them, then it can be written as a Tn minus T naught. Tn minus T naught. It is losing 24 seconds during 24 hours. So this can be written as a 2 pi root over L 1 by root Gn minus 1 by root G. So over here, if I calculate the ratio Tn minus T naught by T naught, so T naught is equal to 2 pi root over L by G. So if I divide by 2 pi root over L by G, so root G 1 by root Gn minus 1 by root G. Now over here, if I start substituting the values, so what we have is now Tn minus T naught is 24 seconds in T naught, which is 24 hours. So I'm writing it as 86400, which is equal to root G, that is 9.8 1 by root Gn minus 1 by root over 9.8. So from here we need to calculate the value of Gn, and Gn from here is turning out to be 9.795 meter per second square. So this is how we approach this kind of a problem. This kind of the same concept is also used in the thermal expansion case, where the variation is coming due to length, and then we use the same type of formulation, that is the variation in time period by original time period, to calculate this kind of aspect where it loses 24 seconds during 24 hours. Let us deal with the next problem. The next problem and the last problem for the day. A spherical ball of mass m and radius r rolls without slipping on a rough concave surface of large radius capital R. It makes small oscillations about the lowest point. We need to find the time period. So over here, if I construct this particular system, so I am constructing in this way, that this is the concave mirror which we are talking about, and it is having a radius of curvature which is equal to r. So if I join them like this, so over here I can say that the radius of curvature is equal to r, and from the mean position, which is the lower end over here, which I mark as mean position of the spherical ball where it is placed. So if the spherical ball reaches this point where it is making an angle theta, from the mean position like this. So from here to here we are considering that the motion happened. So over here, if I construct a tangent like this which is passing through the center of this sphere. Now try to understand the concept which I am trying to teach you over here. So over here what I am trying to do is I am trying to draw a tangent at the center of the sphere. So over here if I draw the tangent at this point, then this angle is 90, this will become 90 minus theta, and eventually this will become theta. So what I am trying to say is that I am trying to redraw this system like this. I am trying to redraw this sphere on an inclined plane like this. On an inclined plane like this. Where what we have done is we have converted this a particular concave mirror diagram into an inclined plane diagram. Inclined plane diagram, and the restoring acceleration is acting down the inclined plane A. So now from the rotational motion or the rotational down the inclined plane, we already know the formulation g sine theta upon 1 plus I by mr square. I by mr square. So we are using this particular formulation. So what we have done is we have converted this particular diagram into our convenience, that is rolling down the inclined plane problem. So and this acceleration is going to act like a restoring acceleration. It is going to act like a restoring acceleration. So I can write over here AR is going to be g sine theta upon 1 plus I can be written as 2 by 5 mr square upon mr square. So this should be small r. So we are getting AR is turning out to be 5g by 7 sine theta. 5g by 7 sine theta. So over here if I take theta to be very small, then I can say that angle can be written as arc length upon radius. So AR can be written as 5g by 7, arc length is x, and the effective radius will become r minus r. The effective radius will turn out to be r minus r. We are subtracting the radius of the spherical ball, and hence AR is taking a form like this with a negative sign over here. It will take a form like this, minus 5g by 7r minus r. So we are putting it in square root square x, and hence the time period of motion is turning out to be 2 pi root over 7 r minus r by 5g. So this is going to be the time period of SHM for the small spherical ball which is placed inside a concave mirror, where we are considering the rotational aspect as well. So with this we come to an end of a problem solving session for a simple harmonic motion.